morning to the Honorable Ministers of the Council, members of the media, online viewers, radio listeners via St. Martin Gov Radio, 107.9 FM, and other radio stations. I'm Rolika Roach, and welcome to the Live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, January 16th, 2019. At this time, I invite the Minister of Tourism, Economic Affairs, Transport, and Telecommunication, the Honorable Stuart Johnson, to address you. Please note that Minister Johnson will only be making an opening statement as he does have to leave immediately. Minister Johnson, you have the floor.
Good morning to the listening and viewing audience, members of the press, and my fellow colleagues in the Council of Ministers. In 2018, the Ministry of TIAT focused on meeting with key stakeholders in the tourism industry, whose participation in the economic revitalization of St. Martin post-Hurricane Irma remains vital to the destination's overall recovery. This year, we anticipate that by the end of the first quarter, about 70% of the available hotel rooms pre-Irma will be restored. Cruise passenger arrivals and airlifts continue to increase, with many major airlines reintroducing routes that paved the way to be considerable success post-Irma. This year, the Ministry of TIAT will double down on efforts to achieve full recovery of our destination. Speaking of restoration, I am pleased to see the progress made to repair the lights on the Causeway Bridge in Simpson Bay. Thanks to the support of my colleague Minister Gietersen and his Ministry of ROMI, the St. Martin Harbour was able to secure the technical assistance and get the work started. The lights on the inner lining of the causeway are being worked on and should soon be completely restored. The next step is to repair the side claddings. In the past, these have been a major attraction for visitors and residents alike. Once all the lights have been restored, the causeway will once again be that beautiful landmark, adding to that lasting memory in the minds of our guests, while providing an alternative to the traffic congestion coming from the airport. I would like to thank the Harbour for their efforts in this regard. As it relates directly to visitor arrivals, we will continue to work on maintaining our position as the preferred destination in the Caribbean for travelers worldwide. That is why at the beginning of this year, I embarked on an essential trip to the Netherlands with my French counterpart, the Vice President of the Collectivity of St. Martin, Ms. Valérie Demercieux, to promote the destination. During that visit, we met with ambassadors from several countries from which we are hoping to generate more business. These included Colombia, Panama, and Canada, amongst others. This trip was historic indeed because it was the first time that government officials from both the French side and Dutch side met at the St. Martin House in the Netherlands. We also delivered a combination of promotional items for both sides of the island at the St. Martin House. We were also joined by the Director of Tourism of the SABRE Tourism Office. SABRE's involvement in our destination promotion is critical as we continue to show the hub function and its strength of the Princess Juliana International Airport and show that St. Martin is indeed open for business with many day trip options. During our visit to the Netherlands, Ms. Demercieux and I officially launched the first destination video since September 2017. The video was produced locally and is a 3-minute viral tour of the entire island. The objective of the video is to highlight real images of where we are in the recovery and to show the world that we are definitely open for business. This video is, of course, the brainchild of a group that forms part of the monthly tourism stakeholders meetings led by the Princess Juliana International Airport with tourism partners from both sides of the island. I must commend the French and Dutch side airports, their respective tourist offices, both chambers of commerce, the French and Dutch side harbors, and the hotel associations for their commitment to ensuring that this video was realized. Over the next few weeks, we will extract 15, 30, and 45-second clips from the video and promote it globally. I want to thank the Vice President once again for her support during this trip and her overall dedication to solidifying the Memorandum of Understanding on destination marketing between both sides of the island. On January 19th, I will be attending the Florida Caribbean Cruise Association FCCA Platinum Associate Membership Advisory Council Summit, PAMAC, where I'll be attending with more than 100 FCCA Platinum members and key executives and stakeholders, along with members of FCCA's 19 cruise lines. These series of one-on-one meetings are critical as it provides a direct opportunity for St. Martin to focus our attention on ensuring that our international partners are fully updated on the progress being made as a destination post-Irma. It gives us the opportunity to put the island's position forward, which we are indeed open and ready to welcome back our visitors. We will continue to push to have our cruise arrival numbers returned to pre-Irma times. Finally, as it relates to the airport and its financing needs, I took the opportunity to join Ms. Mei-Ling Chun, who is the focal point for PGIAA, with the World Bank and the Minister Plenipotentiary, Ms. Urine Wouter, Deputy Plenipotentiary Minister Michael Summersall, and at a technical meeting regarding the airport's financing options with BZK in the Netherlands. I must reiterate that my primary focus continues to be protecting the jobs of the over 200 employees at the airport and satisfying our financial obligations to the bondholders. As a tourism destination, we must ensure that despite our challenges, we do everything necessary to maintain the trust of our international partners. Already we've seen airlifts continue to increase and airlines continue to reopen gateways that were closed post-Irma and we were able to restore. As a priority, the Ministry of TIAT will continue to work towards finalizing the details to secure U.S. pre-clearance, which is central to the St. Martin United Christian Democratic Alliance's coalition plans for rebuilding an economically sustainable island. In keeping with the financial assistance needed for the airport, it is my understanding that a meeting will take place this week in the Netherlands with our Honorable Prime Minister, Ms. Leona Romeo Marlin, and the Prime Minister of the Netherlands, Mark Rutte, on the financing option offered to the airport by the Netherlands, in which our Minister of Finance will be present. At this time, this concludes my opening remarks for this morning's press briefings, and via my cabinet, I look forward to any questions. I thank you.
Thank you, Minister Johnson, for your opening remarks. At this time, I invite the Minister of Justice, the Honorable Cornelius De Wever, to address you. Minister De Wever.
Good morning, Ms. Roach. Thank you very much. Colleague ministers, media, good morning, St. Martin. I'd just like to reemphasize my condolences to all the people who have lost their life due to the road accidents recently, especially to the family of the 3-year-old. Again, the importance of road safety cannot be overemphasized. I believe everyone knows what they are, and I expect them to comply. And of course, the police force to make sure they are enforced. Secondly, as I mentioned 2 weeks ago, that my Facebook page as well as the newsletter will be launched. Those have been launched on last week Friday. I want to thank everyone involved for their support in getting this done, but also in getting the word out and sharing it. The Facebook page is the one for the Ministry of Justice. I don't use my own personal Facebook page since the hurricane, but I think it's important that we have alternative forms to reach the public and inform them, but also for internal use so that everyone is informed of what is happening within the ministry. Just a quick update, the cadet training, or what we call the BPO, the Basis Police Opleiding, will begin in February, and we have 13 cadets that will be trained to become a police officer. We look forward to that group starting and wish them well. From January 22nd to 24th, I will be off island attending the YVO meeting, which is a meeting of all 4 ministers of justice for the kingdom. We will be discussing numerous topics. I am looking forward to that. And just a quick update on the number plates as well. We believe we have found a solution. We are busy getting the codes that are necessary in order to make the right decision. and that is being done. And also with the help of the finance minister as well, we are working on this, so this will be forthcoming, hopefully by the end of the week or next week, that a permanent solution has been found for the current situation. I thank you very much, and I look forward to any of your questions.
Thank you, Minister DeWeaver, for your opening remarks. At this time, I invite the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport, the Honorable Wycliffe Smith, to address you. Minister Smith.
Thank you, Ms. Roach. Greetings to all gathered here this morning, honorable colleague ministers, the Department of Communications, members of the press, as well as the listening and viewing audiences via radio, television, and social media. Good morning, Sualiga. This morning, I had the pleasure of visiting the science presentation of the IB Diploma Program, the International Baccalaureate Diploma Program at the St. Dominic High School. The students were testing sugars found in commercial juices versus the sugars found in natural juices. And it was very interesting to see the students of 4 different disciplines working together on a common topic. As I observed their demonstrations and their presentation, I noted with pride that our future is bright. So let us encourage our children to explore their interests and develop in their different fields. They are sure to be positive contributors to our country. With that in mind, I just want to mention that Monday, February 11th, will be observed as the International Day of Women and Girls in Science. I'm encouraging all schools to have activities geared at this observance. Our females are guaranteed to produce some marvelous work. An update on study financing. Yesterday, January 15th, was the official deadline for applications for general study financing. As promised in last week's press briefing, I have the figures for you with regard to the applications for student financing. For 2019, the number of persons who initiated the study financing application process, that number is 267 students compared to 2018. It was in 2018 246 students, so there's an increase of 8%. As far as the number of students or persons who completed the study financing application form only and are still missing required documents, that number is 190 students. The number of completed applications received with all the required supporting documents, that's 109 students. The 190 students have selected a diversity of places of study. 67 students desired to go to the Netherlands, 61 students to the United States, 20 students applied to go to Canada, 14 students applied to study and remain in St. Martin. And then we had applications for Aruba, 4 students or 4 applications, 1 application for Bonaire, 7 applications for Curacao, 1 for the Dominican Republic, 1 for France, 1 for Jamaica, 1 for Panama, 1 for the Virgin Islands, US Virgin Islands, 11 for the United Kingdom, and that is where the students who would like to study this coming school year would like to do their studies. I would like to say thanks to the team at the Division Study Financing for their continued hard work. Rejoining them after his terrible motor accident is the division head, Mr. Antonio Aventurin. Though he's not back at full capacity, we welcome his return and his valuable contribution to the efforts made on behalf of St. Martin's students. The study financing process is not yet completed. Applications will continue to be reviewed, supporting documents will be collected, and then the decisions will be made on approval. However, given the steep decline in the number of applications actually received, I have approved an extension of the application period until January 31st, 2019. Therefore, let me repeat, the application period for the general study financing has been extended from January 15th through January 31st, 2019. Also, applications for study in the region program are still being accepted. That deadline is January 31st, 2019, and all persons interested in any of the study financing options available must make use of this opportunity to get applications submitted online along with their supporting documents. A note concerning Gifted Royalty Awards nominees. The Gifted Foundation is continuing to honor young people, males and females from among our high schools who have been making positive and outstanding contributions to their school and to the wider St. Martin community. This year, there are more than 40 nominees for awards as Young Kings and Young Queens in the areas of academics, athletics, community service, expressive arts, and leadership. These nominations are a symbolic representation of the great number of focused youth on our island. This is a good reminder for us at this time when negative news seem to be bombarding us, especially as it relates to our young people. However, these nominees for Gifted Royalty Awards should be shared and celebrated in our community and on social media for their achievements. Congratulations to all the Royalty Awards nominees. You are all young kings and young queens. The Domino's Inter-School Sailing Competition was held recently, and I extend my congratulations to the champions, Learning Unlimited. I commend the schools, the yacht clubs, all the trainers, sponsors, and supporters, but most of all, I congratulate our junior sailors on their achievement. They performed expertly. Pretty soon, they will be regatta champions. Once again, congratulations to all the participants. With regards to the National Day of Prayer, on Sunday, January 13th, the government, in collaboration with the St. Martin Christian Council, the St. Martin United Ministerial Foundation, and the Seventh-day Adventist Church, held the 14th Annual National Day of Prayer. A big thank you goes out to the organizers, the participants, and all who took time and made the attempt to attend this national prayer gathering. The theme was Righteousness Exalts a Nation. That verse of Scripture continues as follows: but sin is a reproach to any people. The concept of sin at its root is missing the mark or falling short of the set standard. We miss the mark if we do wrong or if we fail to do right. It's also easy to play the blame game and excuse our actions or our negligence. But 2019 is the year to do things differently. 2019 is the year to do things better and to make things right. We will not get it right if we're fighting against each other. Therefore, we must unite and focus. Unite and focus on rebuilding a clean and a better St. Martin. And each one of us has a role to play. We must unite and focus on resetting our values and our principles to reflect our friendly island culture. And we must unite and focus on recommitting to making our country, St. Martin, a better place to live for the next generation to come. I hope that the sermon delivered by Pastor Pearl Pantilion on the National Day of Prayer will linger on in our hearts and in our minds, and that we will seek to exalt St. Martin through righteousness, which simply means doing things right or doing the right thing. It was Tony Blair, former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, who said, "Sometimes it is better to do the right thing and lose than to win by doing the wrong thing." And the late Martin Luther King Jr., pastor and civil rights leader, who yesterday, January 15th, would have celebrated his 90th birthday if he were alive, he said, and I quote, "Never, ever be afraid to do the right thing," unquote. I'm convinced that if we all do the right thing in 2019, and mind you, not only the government is required to do the right thing, but every citizen, every St. Martiner, every foreigner, and every visitor are required to do what is right. So let us unite and focus and do what is right, and St. Martin will again shine as the paradise gem in the Caribbean. Thank you for watching and listening, and I'll be available for any questions if you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Smith, for your opening remarks. At this time, the Minister of Public Housing, Spatial Planning, Environment and Infrastructure, the Honorable Miklos Hitterson, is here, however, will not be making any opening statements, but is available for any questions the media may have. We now move on to the question and answer session. The floor is open. Lyndon Brown of BCN TV, you have the floor.
Good morning to the people of St. Martin and to the honorable ministers. Can I say it again?
Please state your question to the minister. Thank you.
Question to Minister Smith. I realize that there are different countries of the world that the student of St. Martin have the opportunity to studies. I realize that some countries, the number is up, while others are almost zero. Is there a reason for this? Like most people want to study in Holland, the United Kingdom, and the United States, and the number are very low in the region. Is there a reason for this?
Thank you for your question, Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown, our students have the choice where they wish to study, and there could be various reasons. One reason could be that they have relatives or friends in a particular country, or that they're more associated with that country because they know more about it. But where they choose to study, we will accept that, and they will receive the necessary financing to study, and we continue to monitor their progress while they're there so that we make sure that they do well and that they return to St. Martin to contribute to our country.
Thank you, Minister Smith. Andrew Dick of the Daily Herald, you have the floor.
Thank you, Rolika. Good morning to the ministers. Minister De Wever, concerning the accident that happened over the weekend, many question why up to now the KPSM doesn't have any breathalyzers. Can you explain if our laws have the possibility of a use of breathalyzers? And also, a couple of weeks ago, you also mentioned that uniforms for the police officers would be arriving soon. How far is that?
I will have to get an update on the uniforms when they're arriving. I don't have that date with me. As far as the breathalyzers are concerned, you said they're not using them? Is that? They don't have? That is correct. Right now, it's not taken up in our law as far as breathalyzers are concerned. And it's something that we're busy reviewing as well. As a matter of fact, I have a meeting scheduled with the police as well as the prosecutor's office shortly after this, and we will be discussing these issues. We'll get back to you on it.
Thank you, Minister DeWeaver. Andrew Bishop of St. Martin News Online, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Ministers, good morning. There's several questions I'd like to ask, but this one I know the council ministers have collective responsibility, and as a result, I will ask Minister Smith about the airport business. We understand that from the Prime Minister last session that there's 2 years that the Dutch will have the positions at the airport, one on the supervisory board and one on the management board, and they will be there for 2 years. My question is, would we be able to pay back the 100 million that the Dutch and the EIB is giving St. Martin for the repairs of the airport?
Thank you very much, Mr. Andrew, for your question. The 100 million that you're probably referring to, up to now we know that 50 million will be granted to the government, and that's part of the grant. And then the other 50 million would be a loan at a very low percentage, but the money will go to the airport, and the airport then will be repaying the government, and government will be repaying the loan. So with all the efforts that are being made to get the airport up and running, we certainly foresee that the airport will be able to repay the loans.
Within 2 years?
No, that's not said. The persons that are going to be assigned as consultants to the airport, they would be there for approximately 2 years or so, but there are no agreements yet as to over which term or period that will be paid back.
Thank you, Minister Smith. This brings us to the end of the question and answer session. Honorable Ministers of the Council, members of the media, radio listeners, and online viewers, this brings us to the end of the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, January 16th, 2019. For rebroadcast, tune in every evening at 7 p.m. on St. Martin Cable TV. For video on demand, log on to the official government's website at www.stmartingov.org. On behalf of the Department of Communication, I'm Rolika Roche, and do have a pleasant day further.